Live from the campus of Southern Illinois University Carbondale, this is River Region Evening Edition.
Much of the River Region is back in business this evening after a snow day. Good evening, I'm Robin Tinker.
And I'm Zach Barrett. This was a second snow day for some, especially some schools and colleges in the area, but SIU bucked the trend and reopened today. Evening Edition reporter Carrie Legan looks at how the snow is affecting people.
Are snow covered and people are bundled up as students come back to school at SIU after a snow day on Monday. Students were informed Monday night that classes would be back in session on Tuesday because crews worked all day to clear parking lots and sidewalks. But many wondered if this would be enough for the students who commute to make it in safely. SIU commuter Charlie Loafer says the streets weren't ideal, but they were manageable.
It was a little more difficult than usual, but it wasn't too bad. The roads were just not quite all the way cleared off.
While many worried about the driving conditions, some were more concerned with the walking conditions on campus. SIU freshman Jasmine Burl, who lives on campus, says she had to be careful with her steps while walking to class.
It was a little difficult. I dealt with it pretty well, but you know, with clearing the sidewalks and everything, it was still a lot of snow and people were kind of crowding.
Burl goes on to say she feels fortunate to live on campus to where she doesn't have to face the snowy driving conditions. SIU provided students with a map of clear parking lots and sidewalks to keep students safe while traveling to class. SIU officials also encouraged students to stay home if they felt that they couldn't make the drive to campus. For River Region Evening Edition, I'm Carrie Ligon.
As a matter of fact, it looks like we could experience more winter weather tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. Here's weathercaster Courtney Bunting with a look at what to expect. Courtney.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, out there's already some snow coming around. It might be coming in smaller drifts right now, and tonight will be down to a low of 10 degrees. So whatever snow will be falling, it'll be sticking around on your vehicles. By morning, still only 10 degrees, and by midday tomorrow, only 15. So even though that snow is falling, it's also sticking around. No hope of it melting within the near future anyway, but hopefully later on in the week. And throughout the rest of your week, you're looking at an even more winter weather as a winter weather advisory actually until 9 a.m. tomorrow. More snow and sub-zero temperatures to make sure that snow sticks around. All more details on how you can be ready for that and a warm up maybe later into the weekend in my full forecast.
Thank you, Courtney. SIU's communications faculty and staff held an open forum today about one of the most controversial TV journalists. Brian Williams was suspended for 6 months for fabricating stories on various talk shows and magazine articles. During the forum, journalism professors discussed the impact of Williams' behavior and how it may affect the public's trust.
Journalists are not supposed to do that. And especially for such a high-profile figure to make up things, that's very, very shocking.
Professors at the forum told the audience due to the Williams controversy, it's critical to concentrate on the journalism ethics in the classroom.
Governor Rauner is prepping for the first State of the Budget address tomorrow. The low-income community could be at risk depending on Medicaid cuts, but John Jackson at the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute says that tuition could change at universities, like SIU, if education is cut even deeper than they already are.
People in education, all of the people that run cities and towns in Illinois are all potentially threatened by tomorrow's address. That includes K through 12, community colleges, universities.
WSIU will be carrying the State of the Budget tomorrow at noon, with coverage from Springfield by WSIU's Jack Tishner and Jennifer Fuller.
Apple adds an extra layer of protection against hackers when we come back.
And a 16-year-old who didn't stop for a state trooper is now dead. We'll have those stories in just 90 seconds.
A city official has confirmed that by the end of the month, 4 consulting firms will be interviewed for the job of working on the downtown master plan for Carbondale. City staff compiled a list of possible firms in the 2014, and they've now narrowed that list down to 5. A selection committee will be interviewing for the remaining firms. Carbondale City Manager Kevin Beatty says the names of the firms have not yet been released to the public and the cost of the consultant is still unknown.
The number of confirmed measles cases in Illinois has risen to 14, but no one in southern Illinois has measles. The northern Illinois town of Palatine reported the most recent case. The suburban Chicago area has been the center of the measles outbreak in the state. All 14 cases have been in Cook County. All but one of the cases is linked to a KinderCare Learning Center in Palatine.
A Kentucky teen wanted for 3 murders died in a shootout with police. Maryland officials say that 16-year-old Jason Hendricks led police on a wild chase into opposing interstate traffic. The chase ended in a shootout and the suspect dead. Hendricks was wanted for the murders of his parents and sisters more than 500 miles away in southeastern Kentucky. Law officers say they didn't even know Hendricks was a murderer when they clocked him for speeding.
A former owner of a Florida medical clinic is going to prison for drugging pro athletes. Anthony Bosch falsely portrayed himself as a licensed medical doctor.
Yeah, he accepted thousands of dollars a month to provide steroid injections to Major League Baseball players. Sydney Kessler has more about the sentencing. Sydney.
You're right, guys. Anthony Bosch is going to prison for 4 years. Bosch was convicted of posing as a doctor and supplying steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs to professional baseball athletes. Prosecutors also say he supplied high school athletes with these drugs as well. Bosch was the supplier for New York Yankees third baseman Alex Rodriguez, which caused his season-long suspension. Before his sentencing, Bosch stated that he is ashamed and remorseful. I'll have more in sports later on in the show. Live from the studio, I'm Cindy Kessler.
Apple now has an extra security feature to protect iMessages and FaceTime video chats called two-step authentication. To access the feature, you'll need a phone and an iCloud account. Apple CEO Tim Cook will appear at a White House Cybersecurity Summit on Friday at Stanford University. Cook will explain how the new feature helps prevent cyber hackers. Illinois Republican Representative Tom Bennett of Gibson City says motorcycle safety should be included in all driver's education courses. Bennett's proposal would change the Driver's Education Act in the Illinois School Code so that all behind-the-wheel instruction would include motorcycle safety and awareness. Motorcycle fatalities make up 15% of vehicle deaths, according to the State Department of Transportation. Bennett says citizens in his central Illinois district raised a concern about the lack of motorcycle education in Illinois.
Federal Judge Andrew Hanen issued a preliminary injunction that will momentarily delay President Obama's plans on immigration until the court rules on their constitutionality. Tuesday, the White House promised to appeal the U.S. District Judge Hanen's decision, which puts on hold Obama's orders that could spare as many as 5 million from deportation. Obama's plans were to take effect on February 18th with the Deferred Actions for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. Now, DACA allows the undocumented immigrants who came into the U.S. as children to stay in the country and work legally. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest released a statement Tuesday morning defending the executive actions, saying they are consistent with laws passed by the Congress and decisions of the Supreme Court. Well, the weather is making news again tonight as there's more snow in the forecast, along with some brutally cold temperatures. That's next.
And stocks rose slightly this afternoon, enough for the S&P 500 to reach a record. The nightly business report airs on WSIU right after this newscast.
Well, as I said before, we have a winter weather advisory in effect from 4 p.m. tonight. It already started until 9 a.m. tomorrow. More snow in the outlook, about 1 to 2 inches, so really not as bad as what we put up with in the last few days. But unfortunately, we're going to be dipping down into sub-zero temperatures over the next 2 nights. Right now, what it is outside is it's a comfortable, well, not really that comfortable, 27 degrees, comfortable compared to what we'll be putting up with for the next few nights. You know, the winds aren't too bad. Winds at only 7 miles per hour, so luckily it's not blowing your hats off or anything like that. What we're used to is an average high of about 45 for this day in history, but today's high only reached about 25 degrees. Well, it's 27 right now, but it was predicted to be 25. Average low is 26 degrees, and we dipped all the way down into 10. So we're definitely getting used to some cooler temperatures. And around the area, we're looking at about anywhere from 27 to 30 degrees, with wind chills cooling us down in our area to about 19 degrees. Wind chills in Paducah cooling you down to 21 degrees. So those wind chills, for how little that wind is, it is cooling us off quite a bit. Take a look at the next map. You can see that high pressure system moving in, bringing some snow in our area in the next coming days. But luckily we won't be putting up with as much snow as the areas to our north. So at least we can be thankful for that as far as precipitation goes. As you can see, most of the precipitation actually is located south and around this area, east of us. So luckily we won't be getting the most of it, but we're still getting quite a bit, and unfortunately those sub-zero temperatures will be making that snow stick around throughout the next few nights anyway, so make sure that you're keeping your scrapers out and cleaning off your vehicles. Tonight, a low all the way down to 10 degrees, with that wind still pretty mild at about 5 miles per hour. Unfortunately, into tomorrow, the winds will be getting all the way up to 15 miles per hour, with wind gusts possibly as high as 22 miles per hour. So make sure that you're nice and bundled up, because you know those wind gusts can make it feel a lot colder than it actually is. And tomorrow night, we're looking at a low all the way down to -7 degrees. And so make sure that you're definitely bundled up. You bring those animals inside, you keep your car filled up with gas, and be prepared for probably walking outside of your home a little earlier than usual to prepare for that. And taking a look at your 5-day forecast, Thursday, a high only of 14 degrees, lows all the way down to 6 degrees, and you can see those snow chances and that chance of a wintry mix around Friday and Saturday. So we're looking at quite a bit of precipitation in the next few days, but there's some hope for Sunday, all the way up to 32 degrees, which will seem very warm compared to what we're about ready to put up with. So yeah, definitely make sure you prepare overnight for those cold temperatures.
Ooh. We're almost done with the cold weather though, kinda.
Hopefully,
I guess.
hopefully.
A lot more snow, but
yeah, keep your fingers
there's an
crossed.
end in sight.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, thank you, Courtney. The SIU men and women's tennis team both hit the road over the weekend in some exciting matchups.
And the SIU women's basketball team is on a roll with a 6-game winning streak. Sydney, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, we're going to find out how the SIU baseball team did as they traveled to Texas to take on the TCU Horned Frogs. Also, Coach Barry Hinson shares his thoughts on tonight's matchup against Wichita State. And we'll review how the St. Louis Blues and the Chicago Blackhawks have been doing. Stay on the couch, keep your eyes on the screen, and stick around for more sports in just 90 seconds.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the River region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
Well, folks, it's starting to be that time of the year again for hot dogs, peanuts, and home runs. But so far, the SIU baseball team isn't off to a great start. The men traveled to Fort Worth, Texas to take on the #2 ranked TCU Horned Frogs. The men left Lupton Stadium with an 0-3 record as the Salukis fell to the Horned Frogs in a 3-game series. Will Farmer, Greg Lambert, and J.C. DeMar were the only dogs to collect a hit in the hard-fought series against TCU. Current weather conditions have been postponing and changing games all over the baseball schedule. This Wednesday, the men were supposed to be playing Austin Peay. However, that game has been moved to March 11th at Raymond C. Hand Park. This Friday's game against Eastern Kentucky has also been moved. The men will be playing in Emerson, Georgia at the Lake Point Sports Complex. The SIU women's track and field team are already making phenomenal strides this season. Over the weekend, the Salukis jumped up 12 spots to become the 13th ranked team in the nation. Much of the credit for this leap is due to freshman Raven Saunders. Saunders, who recently set the all-under junior record about a week ago, broke it again this past Saturday at the Fred Wilt Invitational. The track team will make the trip up I-57 to Eastern Illinois on the 20th for the Friday night special. And the Salukis return to the arena tonight to take on number 13th ranked Wichita State. While the Shockers are coming into Carbondale riding a 4-game winning streak, the Dogs are trying to break their unlucky streak. Over the weekend, the Dogs fell to Evansville 72-64. The Salukis will attempt to slow down the Shockers shooting guard, Ron Baker, who averages 15 points per game while shooting 45% from the field. After the game against Evansville, Coach Barry Hinson gave up his thoughts on tonight's matchup.
You know, for me as a coach, I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for our fans. And we'll come in here tomorrow, we'll start putting together a game plan. And all I know is who I am, and I'm going to come in here and fight my butt off.
The men's game starts at 7:05 tonight at the SIU Arena. And the SIU women's basketball team accomplished something they haven't done since the 90s. The Dogs defeated Indiana State on the road 76-58 for the first time since December 29, 1999. The women extended their current winning streak to 6 games despite committing a season high of 25 turnovers. This is usually a recipe for losing games. However, the Salukis played great defense, out-rebounded the Sycamores 44-27, and forcing a season high of 12 steals. SIU will look to extend their winning streak to 7 games this Friday as they play Missouri State. And over the weekend, the SIU tennis teams traveled on the road to take on Murray State and Valparaiso. Both men and women's tennis teams dropped their matches 5-2 over the weekend. The women's team received a stellar performance from freshman Victoria Biero, winning her match 7-6 and 6-4 against Murray State. Although, as a whole, the team lost, junior Johnny Rigby and Michael Kianka extended their win streak to 4 matches against Valparaiso. The tennis teams returned home this Friday as the women take on SIUE and the men face McKendree University. And in NHL news, the St. Louis Blues are currently on a 3-game winning streak. The Blues defeated Tampa Bay 6-3 last Thursday and Florida in a thrilling shootout 2-1 in their last 2 games. And St. Louis will attempt to extend their winning streak to 4 games at St. Louis at 8 p.m. The Chicago Blackhawks are on a winning streak of their own as they ride a 2-game streak, defeating the New Jersey and Pittsburgh in the process. The Blackhawks hope to keep up the momentum going as they face Detroit Red Wings in Chicago tomorrow night at 7:30. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to that game. I'm hoping that the Blackhawks can keep this momentum going. From Chicago, you know, you have to be a Blackhawks fan up there.
Definitely. That dunk contest was definitely something, though, last night.
It was. There was an amazing dunk contest last night. And speaking of basketball, it is Michael Jordan's birthday, so I want to say happy birthday to the big guy.
Happy birthday.
Hopefully he's watching.
Yeah, hopefully he is watching. Maybe he is.
All right, thank you, Sydney.
Thanks, guys.
A UPS man does a good deed for a good pantry by wearing shorts.
Shorts in the winter. I don't know about all that, but we will have the last check on weather after the break.
Here are some of the stories making news in the days ahead. We'll have coverage of Governor Rauner's budget address tomorrow. He's promised there will be plenty of budget pain to share. And we'll have highlights of tonight's Saluki basketball game with Wichita State. Join us Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock for River Region Evening Edition.
A UPS driver in Minnesota is fighting winter weather by wearing shorts in the freezing cold, as we see in this report.
He delivers to all the area, you know, with the UPS truck.
The man in the big brown truck.
He's a very popular young man in our area, and people really like him.
The epitome of service with a smile.
Hello, how are you?
Another day in what would seem to be a typical route.
I was delivering one day, and a lady says, "Boy, you're crazy. It's cold out, and you're wearing shorts." And I just thought, let's see what we can do with this.
Shorts, love of shorts, soon spiraled into a fundraising attempt for the Falls Hunger Coalition.
I just went on Facebook and I said, I've got a challenge for all my friends out there. And I said, until I raise $1,000, I'm going to wear shorts, no matter if it's snowing 30 below, rain, sleet, snow.
$1,000.
I have these checks that people just handed to me, or I have this cash.
Soon turned into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
As of today, it's at $7,192.
Social media was soon abuzz.
They thought it was a good idea.
The comments we would get on our Facebook page too is, we need to dress this young man, or I don't know, maybe we want to keep chasing in shorts all winter.
Well, who could argue? Maybe women just think he has a nice set of legs. But I digress. Short stopped wearing shorts when he reached $5,000 in November.
This has reached so far that, I mean, I've had friends that states, all over the United States are donating.
He says it's all about paying it forward.
Everybody can use a helping hand once in a while, and you never know if the shoe was on the other foot. You never know if you're going to need something yourself, so why not get out there and help somebody?
In International Falls with photojournalist Devin Elmore, I'm Katie Lang, KQDS Fox 21 News.
I mean, I don't know about him. It's too cold, especially in Minnesota for shorts.
Exactly. Snow and shorts do not mix.
Do snow and Carbondale mix?
Yeah, for the next few days anyway, we'll have a lot of wintry mixes and some snow, but luckily your big chance for accumulation is just tomorrow for that 1 to 2 inches. And then that -7 will be the only really cold temperature for a while, and we'll be warming back up. So hopefully if you keep your animals inside and you prepare for just the next few nights, you'll be okay when Sunday rolls around.
Well, thank you very much, Courtney. Thanks for telling us all that bad news about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And thank you for joining us tonight. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at River Region News. I'm Zach Barrett.
And I'm Robin Tinker. For more than 100 students who work on Evening Edition, good night.